Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today I'm reacting to the meaning of meditation, Dandapani. So, it's interesting. You know, I don't know if I've ever heard anyone have the meaning of meditation. Meditation, obviously, we understand it to be meditating, but the meaning behind it. I'm hoping he'll go into the meaning behind meditation, other than just trying to quiet the mind. Is there a meaning behind it besides that?
Yeah, of course. When people say that eventually your entire life needs to become a meditation, I think this is the breakdown of that exact statement. That
Exactly.
you
But I
live.
think in one thing, Randy, I want to interrupt here is it's really critical to use the right words because it's better to say your whole day becomes a practice. Because then how do you differentiate between you sitting down cross-legged with your eyes closed, breathing? That's meditation. And then when you're talking to someone, you say that's meditation too. And then when you're eating, it's meditation. Then now you're using one word to describe 100 different things.
Yes, this is actually something he talks about, and it's something that I like to do. Honestly, I think this is great. I mean, Raja Yoga, I think to be the most difficult, just because it requires you to have quiet mind, quiet body, quiet. I already said quiet mind. That's the difficult one for me. It's a quiet mind and quiet mind and quiet mind and quiet body. But yeah, I think I do generally have a quiet mind when I'm not really paying attention to it. It's generally just me being aware, not really thinking. It happens occasionally. And now he talks about this in other videos, and I think it's something that I want to try to do, is to have in a sense a meditative state throughout the day. And I'm sure Sadhguru does it automatically. It's just, oh, like he says, he's always, what does he say? I'm always blissed out. And perhaps that is the meditative state he's talking about, Sadhguru.
So you're doing an interview with me. You're having a conversation with me, right? You call it a podcast interview. When you talk to your friend or your mother, your father, or your uncle, do you call that a podcast interview?
No.
No, right? When you talk to the chaiwala and you tell him that you want a cup of chai, is that a podcast interview? You very specifically, this is a podcast interview. So when you say the whole day becomes a meditation, you're using one word to describe so many different experiences, which doesn't make sense to me. So you can say my whole day is a practice of being present through the art of concentration, of being focused. When I sit down, close my eyes, and go within, I'm meditating. Does it make sense?
Yeah, 100%. Just for the amateur listeners, there's a couple of things I'd want to highlight.
Yeah.
One is that to get to the stage of practice that Sir's speaking of, it takes some time. So try doing it, and if your head starts slipping away, pull it back to the activity you're doing, pull it back to the conversation you're in. That's what builds focus over time. And the second thing I'd love to highlight is this is just an assumption that tends to happen on the Indian internet. People assume that every time we speak to anyone who's involved in any kind of spiritual practice, this has a religious tonality. But these kind of conversations, when we're speaking about focus, mantra chanting, it's devoid of religion or religious practices. Whatever your religion is, whatever religion you belong to, you can incorporate these practices along with practices from your own religion, make your own version of it. But the goal is to kind of stay in the moment.
Yeah. And to experience that moment that you crafted for yourself, that you created for yourself, right? And I think one of the other, I love traveling. My family's from Sri Lanka, so I'm Sri Lankan ancestry, but India is my favorite country in the world. I love going to India. I love traveling in India. And whenever I go to India, one of the common things either I hear in India or I hear people post on my social media platforms is that you need to get to a certain stage in life before you can start meditating or worshiping or doing chanting. You don't. That's a big misconception. Why do you need to get to a certain stage? This is not a university. This is not something that you need a degree in order to do. Just start doing. You don't need to be anything more special than who you are today to begin to meditate or to begin to start a spiritual practice.
Yep. So they say that content drives culture. So the kind of lives we live are in a huge way driven by the content we consume, and we're living in an age of hyper short content. You have Instagram reels, you have short content like on TikTok, 30-second videos, 15-second videos, and they say that the long-term effects of that is that our attention spans become lower.
Genius right there. Like I said, in America, I mean, again, I don't think it's just America or Western world. It's just developed areas where things become so easy, and this is what I'm trying. I think I am suing towards. Instead of kept saying Western world or America, I like to start saying developed areas, because again, not everywhere in America or not everywhere in the Western world has this, but it's more along the lines of the very high-tech areas of any country that has very easy access to food, water, and shelter. Because with those out of the way, they focus on other things now. You know, like Sadhguru says, you know, hungry, one problem; thirsty, one problem; you know, shelter, one problem. Once all those problems are done, those 3 problems, you have 99 problems now. Hungry, one problem; thirsty, one problem; shelter, one problem. Oops. Didn't mean to do that one. But once those 3 problems are gone, 99 problems shows up. And but yeah, it's kind of crazy. But anyways, develop areas, I start to see that they're looking for quick fixes, because everything's so instant now. You want food, you can go to a fast food area or to an eatery. Someone will cook the food for you. You don't even have to do anything. Just pay money. Quick, easy. Pay money, get food. You don't have to cook, don't have to do anything. Want to watch a show? Look it up on YouTube or go to like the streaming service websites. You can pick it out right away without any advertisements, for the most part. What else? If you want almost anything, it's pretty much almost immediate, because clothes, food, cars, whatever, phone, whatever you want, information, it's all like that now. And what he's saying is that, yeah, I fear that. It's the fact that I think our attention span is becoming so small. I think of myself whenever I get those ads that are skippable.
So that's a menace that an entire generation will have to fight. Now, opposed to that, it's practices like these, which will actually combat the effects of content like that, where you try staying in a moment completely. You try listening to a deep, long conversation like this with your full focus. You keep bringing back, the most intense parts of your mind into your daily life. But what would you have to say about that? The way the modern day forms of content are affecting the mind. Do you believe that it is? Because I certainly do.
Yeah, no, 100%. So imagine if I'm just watching 30-second reels, right? I'm watching for 30 seconds, and then whatever algorithm is feeding me the next reel, and it could be something I'm totally uninterested in. And then I could watch that for 5-7 seconds and then go like, I'm not interested. So I swipe and go to the next thing. Now I'm training my awareness to only be on one thing for that limited period of time, whether it's 30 seconds or 5 seconds or 10 seconds. There's a saying I have called, a law I call the law of practice, meaning whatever it is you practice is what you become good at. So if I practice concentration every day, I become good at concentration. If I practice distraction all day, I become really good at distraction.
Real quick, before I forget, I already forgot one of them, so going to the next one. About how you're swiping to the next content. And another thing is the fact that it goes back to ADHD. I think that's a big thing going on around here, where you can only have your attention for so long on certain things before you have to move on to something else. And I think the biggest issue there is the fact that, what he's talking about, how swiping to the next content because it's not interesting to you. Now that's being developed where when you grow up and there's something that you have to do that you're not interested in, you're not going to do it. You're going to go to do something else when you're not supposed to, especially like a job or something where you have to stay and do your job for 4 hours or however long it takes. But because you've not trained your mind to focus on something to get it done because it's not interesting to you, you're just going to drop it and you're not going to be a very good worker. And I think that's what we're training in our generations now, more than just that, but it's just the sheer fact that there's so much more issues than just that. But just leave it at that, because that's what they're talking about here.
So imagine if I'm jumping from one thing to another, every 10 or 15 seconds because being trained by social media to do that. What would I become good at? I become good
Oh,
at
there you go.
keeping my focus for as long as 15 seconds.
Yep.
So now I'm having a conversation with you, and after 15 seconds, my subconscious tells my mind if it's time to shift to something else. Well, that's really interesting.
Yeah. It's like, hey, how you doing? Huh. I'm sorry, Dad. I was trying to swipe you because, I'm bored already. But I guess I'm just gonna hang up. Sorry. You're just having a conversation with someone. All of a sudden, you try to swipe them off to the next video, thinking that you can do that, but you're just talking to them because you're bored after 5 seconds of trying to talk to someone. I think they text now.
And then I become a master. That I become good at whatever it is I practice.
Yeah.
And this is where everybody needs to make a choice, right? Really? And that's why I started at the beginning saying that we need to make the case. We need to convince ourselves that, is this the way I want to live? I'm not saying one way is the correct way and one way is an incorrect way. At the end of the day, what do you want in your life? If you want to live a truly rewarding life, a profound life, and to be able to experience these things that you're creating in your life, the food that you choose to buy and eat, the vacation that you choose to buy and go on, the people that you choose to spend time with, then you really need to be able to focus. Because if you can't be focused, how can you actually enjoy that person, listen to them, enjoy what they're sharing with you, and enjoy that chat experience? You can't. You only would have an attention span of 15 or 30 seconds before you shift to something else. And then at the end of your life, you will have a trillion shallow experiences, nothing deep and profound.
Very much so. I mean, I can't exactly blame social media for all this stuff because, they just put it out there and it's up to us, ourselves, our responsibility to know why we're doing certain things. Whether we're watching 1 hour long video of someone talking about nothing on YouTube, like anyways, and or a few minutes, 30 seconds. This is where self-responsibility, in my opinion, is another big issue. A lot of people are, how do I say, they don't take responsibility for their actions. They end up blaming other people for things that they've done because they don't know how to handle problems and they don't want to take blame. They are not responsible for their actions as they should be. So whenever an issue comes up, they blame other people. And also, whenever you have them do something, because they're not responsible, they might not be reliable in doing something for you. Kind of sucks. That's what we're, in a sense, generating in this world, but freely, because they choose to do that. They choose to have an attention span of 30 seconds, and no one's teaching people responsibility. I think the, how do I say, I guess the modern family, at least in the Western world, is no longer teaching their kids the rights and wrongs. Not all. I think it's growing though. And I think it's becoming a bigger problem. We can kind of see that with a lot of modern day people in the Western world growing up as large child. They're 20, 30 years old children who don't know how to handle problems and don't know how to handle life because everything's been handed to them. And anything they fail at, they don't blame themselves, they don't look inwardly, they don't take responsibility, so they always blame external things, so they remain perfect. It's like, I didn't mess up. I am still perfect, and they don't learn from their mistakes. I said a lot there. Way too much. And this is supposed to be the meaning of meditation. Anyways, that's my reaction to the meaning of meditation, which really derived way off. I guess the meaning of meditation is for concentration. To be able to sit there and focus your mind, to leave your thoughts, and to meditate, well, I won't say meditate on nothing, but to have a blank mind, clean slate, so that you're able to sit and focus. I guess that is one way of helping with ADHD, as they say. Anyways, that's my reaction to this video. If you like my content, please consider subscribing, thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.